The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. YOLO Popo still don't want to admit that they have caused any harm. They are still sitting there denying that they have ever done anything wrong to Africa. They were never involved in the slave trade. According to this British woman, they are not involved in any slave trade. So why are we asking them to pay us reparation? Africans are always sitting down accusing them. And another person was saying, if they are not responsible, but they are enjoying. We know that their forefathers came into Africa and took everything out of Africa. These were the people who colonized us. And today they are saying that they are not responsible, but they are enjoying the fruit of their ancestors. What about that? One too is saying that even Germany is paying reparation. What about Germany? One thing these people don't understand and they don't want to admit is they have ever done anything wrong. These are the same people who are saying that we are always sitting here looking at the bad side of colonization. But in actual sense, they brought us education. One thing that they said that even baffles me was they brought us hygiene. For none for my gym, you know hygiene than us. They brought us education, roads, and all that. But they have forgotten that the roads that they built were not meant for Africans. They were meant for them to be able to transport the things that they were taking out of the African continent.
No living British citizen was part of the slave trade, and we're not responsible, any of us living today, for the crimes of dead slave traders. So why are we being asked to apologize, to pay reparations? Writing someone a check is not going to undo what someone feels about their history.
What if we're still profiting from it?
But we all profit. That people all over the world are living a life that they may not have led if slaves hadn't been used. We know that.
Yasmin disagrees.
Every building built by slaves.
This from someone. Okay, you live in a country. Listen, can I speak? You live in a country which, after the First World War, Germany was absolutely forced to pay reparations, and they're still paying off. Oh, the Brits don't worry about that. They've never said, oh, well, living young Germans had nothing to do with that. Japan was made to pay huge reparation bills. Somehow Britain, when called upon to at least make a gesture, the royals actually benefited hugely. So did Tate and Lyle. So I find it so extraordinary that's when you disengage.
But they lost a war, Japan and Germany.
Yeah, yes, reparations was insisted on. Nobody said, okay, we're going to forget this, it happened, it's history. When it suits us, right? And I think Jamaica, I have a lot of Jamaican friends, they wouldn't have been this exercised because they have been fond of the royals. Without the Windrush scandal. That really shocked them.
Something odd is happening with this trip. I don't quite get it. I can't work out. Firstly, this idea that a letter has been written by 100 Jamaican leaders, that sounds like a lot of people, but then 100 leaders? And then the other thing is, I thought William and Kate had people saying, look, watch, this is going to be a tricky one. But obviously nobody said that to them. So they keep going to places where they're told they're not welcome.
Well, I think Barbados started something by declaring itself a republic and dissociating from that. But I think the Windrush scandal has had a real impact.
But now
bobsleighing, by the way.
It seems crazy to me that we're making moral judgments today in the 21st century about what happened 200 years. We had Tony Blair apologizing for the potato famine, saying, what was he said? He was expressed his sorrow and regret for something that happened a century before he was born.
But I think that's
nonsense.
I don't know,
It's empty gesture politics.
Carol, that's decency.
It's
that's
not.
Absolutely decency.
No, it isn't. It's empty gesture.
Do you know that the effects of slavery are still playing out among Black Americans and in the Caribbean? It isn't over for them.
So how do you think writing a check is
extraordinary?
How is writing a check going to solve their problem?
Oh, I think
what they might feel in the head.
A little bit.
How? Tell me how. Explain how.
It is one of the poorest countries in the world.
So you think that, no, that never mind because it's one of the poorest countries. How is it going to help what they feel about slavery? How is it going to change what they feel?
They will feel it has been acknowledged.
That's what
you can't just
you don't acknowledge things with money.
I'm sorry. Show you care.
I'm sorry. You can't just dismiss a history because it doesn't agree with you.
You know, I'm pretty sure that, you know, the next generation, our descendants, are going to talk about us in the way we're now talking about what happened 200 years ago. You know, are they going to criticize us for burning fossil fuels? Are they going to criticize us for letting kids have sex changes and start taking hormones aged 14?
Was it?
So we're going every age has wrongdoing.
My question was just that was it that long ago? And here's why I asked that. I was born in 1965. Lincoln was shot in 1865. So only 100 years before I was born. He's the guy who said, we're not having slavery in the state. It doesn't seem, suddenly to me now, it doesn't seem that long ago.
But let's just get over this myth. There were people in this country, women in particular, who, while the slave trade was going on, absolutely opposed it on moral grounds. The Quakers in America and here.
But we got out ahead of
our sensibility.
But that's the point.
They knew.
But we got out ahead of the States, didn't we, on some of this stuff? You
had the abolition with William, but actually, by that time, a lot of women weren't buying sugar because they thought, and what's his name, the potter. The famous potter,
Woodward. Well, hang on, Stoke. Is it Wedgwood?
They made these beautiful plaques of slaves looking up and you know, messages saying this is wrong.
Okay.
They knew.
All right, so it's still very current for some.
Whatever they did wasn't to our benefit. The education that she claimed they gave to us wasn't for us to be able to read and write in their language. It was a system that was kept in place for them to subdue us, so that we would do away with the Africanness in us, our culture, our identity. The more you acquire higher education, the more you become more European. That is why today we speak English with our kids. We are no longer interested in eating our local food. Everything of ours is now theirs. The more we go to school and claim we are researchers, we come back and we tell ourselves that the food we are eating, we have researched into it and this food is no longer good. But this is the same thing our forefathers ate before it got to you that went and learned A for apple, B for ball. That you will now come and tell us that there's everything wrong with what we are eating as Africans. Everything African they make you believe is bad. It is a system to brainwash you. So these people never gave us anything. Like other people sit there and say we should look at the good aspect of the colonization. There is nothing good about colonization. Being able to read and write in another man's language, your colonizer's language, doesn't mean you're educated. And that is why today we are here. We can never use whatsoever knowledge we claim we have acquired. Look at Chinese, look at Japanese, Koreans. Are they not educated? Do we say because they can't read and write in English they are not educated? So why do we have the notion that if you are able to speak in another man's language, you're educated? So these people never gave us anything. They are the reason to which the African do not know his or her identity. They have taken our culture out of us. They are the ones who gave us religion. They are the ones that have brainwashed us to the point that even our names, because before you can enter into their heaven, you must change your name from your African name to the European name. That is the only time you can enter heaven. So today the African do not know who he or she is. So I wonder why these people have the notion that they have never done anything. Today everything you are enjoying in Europe, even in the United Kingdom, was taken from here. Our gold, our diamonds, everything you are enjoying, the good roads you are enjoying, the electricity and everything is taken from Africa. And you are still taking. You are still after our leaders that are doing everything possible to rise and fight you from taking all these things. It isn't that slavery has ended. Slavery has been modernized and you are still benefiting from it if you are not aware. These people are still coming into the continent and they are carrying our mineral resources and they are benefiting you. As you sit here and say you are not responsible for anything, even if it is your forefathers you are enjoying, and it is not only your forefathers left and you have taken over, and you will teach your children and generations to come to continue to do what your forefathers did. So Africa is the reason to which you are where you are. All the things that you claim you brought in the name of colonization was to suppress the African and to make us weak. You gave us a book and asked us to close our eyes. When we opened, you had our land, we have your book. That is the problem of Africa. Until date, we are still doing it. The day we all will unite, Africans will unite and take control over everything that we have. That is the day you will tell us whether you are enjoying things from Africa or you are not enjoying things from Africa. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make African great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world. And in the United Kingdom,